This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're working with a sub-zero freezer refrigerator that is not making big enough ice. So the ice is just a little bit too small, kind of underdeveloped, sometimes a little bit hollow. So to make the cubes bigger is pretty easy. One thing to make sure is that the little valve underneath the sink or behind the refrigerator is turned all the way on. This is the valve that lets water come in for the ice maker. Also, you want to check here that your settings are correct. Your freezer should be at 0 and your fridge at 38, and you want to make sure that you press the button here that is for the ice maker, and you can also press it for max ice. You'll see the little logo on the display change. For ice, it's just 1 ice cube. For max ice, it'll show 3 ice. That really is just a way to speed up how fast the ice maker makes the ice. So we're going to try to adjust it here. It's not that hard. We're going to first take out these drawers so that we can have a little bit more room to work. I want to show you guys too what kind of ice is currently making. They are a little bit too small. They're kind of like 3/4 of what they could be, and sometimes they're hollow and just not really that great. If you're making drinks, you want to have some nice ice that you can present to your guest. So pretty easy to fix it. Again, first make sure that there is water coming in through the water valve, the one underneath your sink or behind the refrigerator, by turning it all the way to the left, which is max open. That allows for the most water to come in. And then there's an adjustment screw on the ice maker. So again, this is just showing you kind of what the ice is looking like now, a little bit underdeveloped, which points toward not enough water. So to fix it, we're going to pull these drawers out. So got the ice bin first. I'm going to turn off the power. You can unplug it or turn off the breaker. And then what I've done is I've crawled underneath here. I'm looking up toward the ice maker, and I just loosened this plastic front panel with a standard head screwdriver. I just kind of popped it out. And there's an instruction sheet inside here you can use just to help you remember. Almost always these little tech sheets are in there. I'm also checking this arm. I'm lifting it up and down, and I can hear a little click. And that's good. That means that the ice maker switch is working. When it's up all the way, it turns the ice maker off. When it's down, the ice maker is on, and it will make ice. So I want to make sure that you hear that click. So in here it shows you where the adjustment screw is and which way to turn it to make the ice either bigger or smaller. We want to make it bigger, so we want to do lefty-loosey on this adjustment. We're going to turn it 1 or 2 full turns out, and then you can play with it over time and try to dial it in exactly right. But I'm going to try 2 full turns on the adjustment screw, and that's coming out to my right, our lefty-loosey. Or you can think of it as counterclockwise. So I've got a little Phillips head screw and a little ratchet, and I'm going to just go ahead and make that turn. I was not able to get the freezer door off. Some of the screws were just stripped, so I'm actually laying on my back. I'm in between the freezer door and the freezer looking up, and you can definitely do that. There's room to get in there if you need to, and it may be a little bit easier actually, so you don't have to take off the freezer door. So I'm turning that a couple of turns, full turns to the left or counterclockwise or lefty-loosey, and that's all you got to do. And then you just go ahead and put everything back together, and it takes a while for the ice maker to do its thing, so it might be good to clear the bin out of the existing ice, and then within about 5 or 6 hours you should have some new ice. And hopefully that ice will be no longer hollow and will be bigger. If it's too big, then you'll have to turn that screw to the right or clockwise until you can just dial that in. It just takes a while to see the results, unfortunately, so you might have to do it a couple of times. So I'm just putting that plastic case back in. I'm going to push it up there into position and then push it back. And there's no screws or anything, it just sits in by friction. It'll give you a lot of room though. There we go. And now now we're just going to put the bins back in. Put that one in first, the big one. And then there's one above that that's on rails, so we're going to slide that in on its rails. And then we can add the ice bin back in. If you ever have a situation where your machine is not making ice, it could be that you had your freezer settings so cold that it kind of froze up the tube that lets the ice come in. And you can correct that by setting your freezer to 0. You may need to thaw out that ice though to get it going again. I'm going to turn it back on. And I'll just make sure I press the buttons that are asking for max ice, so that'll just speed up how fast it's going to make the ice. It doesn't change the size of the ice though. And again, I want the freezer at 0 and I want the fridge at 38. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and please subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. Thanks for watching.